All right, today we're doing a full system upgrade, but not on your computer, on you. We're going to install a brand new mental operating system based on the principles of the entrepreneur and, honestly, philosopher Naval Ravikant. Think of this as your personal playbook for building wealth and designing a happier life. Okay, let's dive right in. So, let me start with a question for you. Are you playing a game you can't actually win? So much of what we're taught about success and work is built on a set of rules that are, well, fundamentally flawed. They're almost designed to keep us running in place. You see, according to Naval, most of us are trapped playing something he calls the status game, and it's a zero-sum competition for social rank. For you to move up, someone else has to move down. It's this endless, completely exhausting battle. But there's another game you can play, the wealth game, and this one is positive sum. You win by creating new things, new value, and when you do that, everyone can benefit. So the crucial question is, how on earth do you switch games?
Well, that brings us to our very first installation, the Wealth OS. This is your new system for achieving real financial freedom, not just, a bigger paycheck.
First things first, we have to redefine what wealth even is. It's not about how much money you have in the bank. Money, that's just a tool we use to transfer wealth. True wealth is owning assets that earn for you even when you're sleeping. Think businesses, code you've written, or content you've created that's out there working for you 24/7.
Now this is a huge mental shift. The standard path we're all taught is to trade our time for money. Your income is linear, right? It's capped by the number of hours in a day. The real path to freedom is owning assets. This completely disconnects your income from your time, and that allows for exponential, nonlinear growth.
So how do you make that leap? How do you get there? The engine that powers this entire system is one simple but powerful word: leverage. Leverage is the thing that allows your actions and your judgment to be magnified, to produce massive results from the exact same amount of effort.
And there are 4 kinds of leverage. You have the old ones: labor, managing people, and capital, investing money. Both are incredibly powerful, but they require someone's permission. You need someone to work for you or someone to give you money to invest. But the new forms of leverage, wow, they're a game changer because they are permissionless. Anyone can write code or create media. And here's the magic. They have zero marginal cost of replication. You build a piece of software once or record a video once, and it can serve millions of people.
But here's the thing, leverage on its own is useless. It needs a force to multiply. And that force is what Naval calls specific knowledge. This isn't something you can just learn in a classroom. It's that unique skill set you build by following your genuine curiosity and your natural talents. It's that thing that feels like play to you but looks like work to everybody else. That is what powers your leverage engine.
So that leads us perfectly to our second installation, the Learning OS. This is the system you use to actually cultivate that specific knowledge and make the kind of high-quality decisions that your leverage can amplify.
The Learning OS runs on a really simple principle: garbage in, garbage out. You have to curate what you let into your brain. That means prioritizing foundational, timeless knowledge from books over the constant, fleeting noise of social media feeds. Focus on learning mental models, the core principles from fields like economics and psychology. And the best way to get started? Just read what you genuinely love until you build the habit and actually fall in love with reading itself.
But just consuming information is only half the battle, right? True understanding comes from application. And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. The ultimate test of your knowledge is whether you can output it in a simple, clear way.
This brings us to the learning feedback loop. It's such a simple but powerful cycle. First, you take in high-quality information. Then, and this is key, you immediately try to output it. Write about it, build something with it, teach it to somebody else. This forces you to test your understanding out in the real world. It gives you feedback, and it allows you to iterate and refine what you actually know. This is how you build real, applicable skills, not just trivia. Okay, so we have a system for wealth and a system for learning. But what's it all for? What's the point? That brings us to our final, and probably most important installation, the Happiness OS. This is the program for managing your internal world. This is one of Naval's most profound ideas. He argues that happiness is actually our natural default state. It's not something you go out and find or achieve. It's what's left when you remove the things that are making you unhappy. And what's the biggest source of our unhappiness? Our own desires. Every single time we want something, we sign a little contract to be unhappy until we get it. This leads to 2 totally different life strategies.
Most people are trying to maximize happiness, chasing more money, more pleasure, more achievements. But that's the hedonic treadmill. The finish line is always moving. The more effective strategy is to minimize unhappiness. This is an internal game of wanting less, of carefully choosing your desires, and of defining what enough truly means for you.
So the crucial insight here is that happiness isn't just something that happens to you if you're lucky. It's an internal skill. And just like building a muscle in the gym, you can literally train your mind for peace and contentment through consistent daily practice. And here's some of the core exercises for that mental gym. Meditating daily to create some space between you and your thoughts. Practicing gratitude to appreciate the present moment. Consciously opting out of those comparison games, which social media just amplifies like crazy. And never ever forgetting the foundation, your physical health. A tired, unhealthy body makes a happy mind almost impossible.
So there we have it. We've installed 3 distinct operating systems, one for wealth, one for learning, and one for happiness. Now it's time to integrate them all and, well, run your own program. When you put it all together, the philosophy is just beautifully simple. You build wealth not for fancy cars, but for freedom. The freedom to control your own time. You pursue learning not for a diploma, but for personal growth, to become a more capable version of yourself. And you cultivate happiness, not as some distant goal, but as your default state, to find peace right here in the present moment.
Look, this playbook isn't a rigid set of instructions. It's more like the source code for a better life. It gives you the principles, the mental models, and the systems. So the final, and really the most important question, is for you. Now that you have the code, what will you build?